If I told you that not all salt is created equal, would you believe me? For most of us, salt is just that little white crystal we sprinkle over our food, but in reality, there are several types of salt, each with its own taste, texture, mineral content, and yes, its own health implications. In this video, we go into explore 5 of the most common salts you'll find in kitchens around the world: table salt, sea salt, kosher salt, Himalayan pink salt, and salt substitutes. By the end, you'll know which ones might be better choices for your kidneys, your heart, and your overall health, and which ones you might want to use more sparingly. So, grab your favorite dish in mind, because we're about to find out which salt could be your perfect match. Table salt, the everyday staple. Let's start with the salt you probably have sitting in your kitchen right now: table salt. This is the most processed form of salt. It's mined from underground deposits, then refined to remove most minerals, leaving behind almost pure sodium chloride. Manufacturers often add iodine to table salt to help prevent iodine deficiency, a condition that can lead to thyroid problems. While this is an important public health measure, table salt also usually contains anti-seeking agents to keep it from clumping, which means it's even further from its natural state. From a health perspective, table salt delivers sodium quickly and in high amounts. Too much sodium can raise blood pressure, put stress on your kidneys, and increase the risk of heart disease. The American Heart Association recommends keeping sodium intake under 2,300 milligrams per day, and ideally closer to 1,500 milligrams for most adults. So, while table salt is cheap, accessible, and fine in small amounts, it's not necessarily the healthiest choice if you're looking to protect your kidneys and heart over the long term. Sea salt. From the ocean to your table. Sea salt comes directly from evaporated seawater, and depending on where it's harvested, it can contain small amounts of minerals like magnesium, calcium, and potassium. These minerals give sea salt its subtle differences in flavor, texture, and even color, from bright white to light gray or pinkish hues. Unlike table salt, sea salt is usually less processed, which means it retains more of its natural mineral content. Many people find that it has a cleaner, more complex taste, which allows them to use slightly less of it without sacrificing flavor. However, it's important to remember that sea salt is still mostly sodium chloride, so using large amounts carries the same health risks as table salt. Another point to consider is that our oceans are becoming increasingly polluted, and traces of microplastics have been. While the health impact of these tiny particles is still being studied, it's something to be aware of if you use sea salt regularly. Sea salt can be a good choice if you prefer a more natural product with a hint of trace minerals, but moderation is still key, especially for those watching their blood pressure or protecting their kidney health. Himalayan pink salt, the trendy mineral-rich option. Himalayan pink salt is mined from ancient salt deposits found deep in the Himalayan mountains, mainly in Pakistan. Its striking pink color comes from trace minerals like iron, magnesium, and potassium, which also give it a slightly different flavor compared to table or sea salt. Some people describe it as having a softer, more rounded taste. Because it's marketed as a pure and natural salt, many believe it's a healthier alternative. While it's true that it contains more minerals than regular table salt, the actual amounts are very small. You'd have to eat an unhealthy amount of salt to get a significant mineral boost. So, from a nutritional standpoint, it's not dramatically different from other salts. That said, Himalayan pink salt is less processed and often comes in larger, coarse crystals. This makes it appealing for finishing dishes, where a small sprinkle can add a burst of flavor and a nice crunch. It can also make meals feel more gourmet, which might encourage mindful eating, a small but positive health habit. The bottom line: Himalayan pink salt can be a flavorful and visually appealing option, but it's still sodium chloride. The health benefits come not from eating more of it, but from using it in small amounts and savoring the taste. Kosher salt, the chef's favorite. Kosher salt gets its name from the Jewish practice of koshering meat, where coarse salt is used to draw out blood. It's not blessed or inherently religious, it's simply named for its role in that process. What makes kosher salt stand out is its texture. The crystals are larger, lighter, and flakier than table salt, which makes it easier to pinch between your fingers and distribute evenly over food. That's why professional chefs love it, to get more control and can avoid oversalting your dishes. Another plus: kosher salt doesn't usually contain additives like iodine or anti-caking agents, so the flavor is clean and pure. Because the crystals are larger, a teaspoon of kosher salt has less sodium than a teaspoon of table salt, though this is due to the volume difference, not because it's healthier. From a home cooking perspective, kosher salt can help you season food more precisely. If you're trying to cut back on sodium, this type of salt might make the transition easier, because the bigger flakes give you a satisfying crunch and pop of flavor without using as much overall. The takeaway: kosher salt is perfect for hands-on cooking and controlling seasoning. Just remember, if you're switching from table salt to kosher salt in recipes, you may need to adjust measurements to avoid under or oversalting. Black salt kalanomic, the sulfur surprise. Black salt, also known as kalanomic, is a unique type of rock salt originating from South Asia. Despite its name, it's not truly black when ground. It's more of a pinkish-brown color. Its most distinctive feature is its smell and taste, which come from naturally occurring sulfur compounds. The aroma is often compared to boiled eggs, making it a fascinating ingredient for certain dishes. In Indian and Nepali cooking, black salt is prized for adding depth and complexity to savory foods, snacks, and chutneys. It's also a key ingredient in chaat masala, a spice blend used to bring tangy, salty, and slightly funky notes to street foods. Nutritionally, black salt contains slightly less sodium than regular table salt, along with trace minerals like iron, which give it its color. However, it's still salt, so moderation is key, especially if you have high blood pressure or kidney concerns. For people following a vegan or plant-based diet, black salt is often used to mimic the flavor of eggs in tofu scrambles or vegan omelets. Just a pinch can transform the dish. The takeaway: black salt is more about flavor enhancement than everyday seasoning. It's not a healthy food, but its distinctive tastes can make certain dishes truly unforgettable. Sea salt, nature's crystals. Sea salt is made by evaporating seawater, leaving behind crystals rich in sodium and trace minerals. Unlike refined table salt, which is heavily processed, sea salt often retains small amounts of calcium, magnesium, potassium, and other minerals, which can subtly influence its flavor and color. The texture of sea salt can vary greatly from fine grains to large, coarse crystals. This variety not only affects how it tastes, but also how it feels in your mouth. Large flakes can add a satisfying crunch when sprinkled over roasted vegetables, grilled meats, or even dark chocolate. Flavor-wise, sea salt tends to have a cleaner, more nuanced taste compared to table salt, partly because it's less processed. Some artisanal sea salts like Celtic sea salt or Himalayan sea salt are hand-harvested and celebrated for their unique mineral profiles and natural colors. From a nutritional standpoint, sea salt isn't significantly healthier than regular salt. While the extra minerals sound appealing, they're present in very small amounts. The main difference lies in taste, texture, and purity rather than health benefits. If you're aiming to reduce sodium intake, remember that sea salt is still salt. However, because it often has larger crystals, you might end up using slightly less by volume compared to fine table salt, helping you cut back without feeling deprived. The takeaway: sea salt brings a sensory experience to your food, turning everyday meals into something special. It's perfect as a finishing touch, where both flavor and texture can shine. Wrapping it all up, choosing the right salt for you. Now that we've explored different types of salt: table salt, kosher salt, pink Himalayan salt, and sea salt, you might be wondering, which one should I use? The answer depends on your cooking style, personal preferences, and health goals. If you're looking for a reliable everyday salt for cooking and baking, table salt remains a solid choice thanks to its fine texture and consistent flavor. For seasoning meats or vegetables, kosher salt offers a pinch-friendly texture and even coverage. If you enjoy a touch of visual appeal and a subtle mineral flavor, pink Himalayan salt might be your go-to. And for dishes where texture and finishing touches matter, sea salt can transform the experience from ordinary to extraordinary. From a health perspective, all salts, no matter how exotic, contain roughly the same amount of sodium by weight. The key to protecting your heart and kidneys is moderation. Adults generally need less than 2,300 milligrams of sodium per day, and those with kidney or heart issues may need even less. One practical tip is to measure your salt with purpose. Instead of shaking it straight from the container, sprinkle it from your fingers or use a small pinch bowl. This gives you more control and helps you savor the flavor without overdoing it. Ultimately, salt is more than just a seasoning, it's a tool that enhances the natural flavors of food. By understanding each type's characteristics, you can make mindful choices that bring both taste and health benefits to your table. Salt is one of those ingredients we often take for granted, yet it plays such a powerful role in our meals and in our health. The truth is, it's not about avoiding salt completely, but about choosing it wisely and using it with intention. When we understand the differences between types of salt and learn how to control our portions, we can enjoy bold, satisfying flavors without putting unnecessary strain on our heart and kidneys. So the next time you're in the kitchen, think about the salt you're adding, not just the type, but the amount. Let your taste buds guide you, but also keep your long-term health in mind. Small, thoughtful changes can have a big impact over time. If you found today's video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow. And if you want more practical tips for eating well and protecting your kidneys, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new video. Until next time, take care of yourself, take care of your health, and remember, good food can be both delicious and nourishing. See you in the next video.